What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. Now, it is time for the Week 31 Premier League predictions. If you didn't catch my previous video on the Europa League second leg, you can go and check that out. And be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell because you don't want to miss a single video. I think tomorrow on the channel, we've also got the FA Cup quarter-final predictions. But anyway, today we're kicking it off with the Week 31 Premier League predictions. And I want to give a massive shout out to Mason Baza, who left his predictions for the previous week down in the comments below. And if you want to shout out just like Mason, then you can leave your predictions down in the comments. I read all of them. I love the discussions, even when people are disagreeing with me. It's great to see the football discussion going on and see what you guys think is going to happen. And just before we get into the Week 31 predictions, I'm going to go back to my Week 30 predictions and see how we got on. So we kicked off with Crystal Palace versus Brighton in that lovely derby, and I predicted it would be a 2-1 win to Crystal Palace, but it actually went the other way. A calamitous error at the back to give Glenn Murray the first goal, and Brighton managed to clinch a 2-1 away win, which is a huge result for them. So I predicted 2-1. I predicted the wrong team to win it, though. The next game, again, predicted the right score, completely the wrong way. Cardiff against West Ham. I predicted West Ham would go to Cardiff and get the 2-0 win, but a big 3 points for Cardiff as they beat West Ham 2-0. So it's very interesting. I think Cardiff, with that 2-0 win, we're thinking they're looking very good, but Southampton managed to beat Tottenham. It's just crazy. We'll get to that in a minute. Huddersfield versus Bournemouth. I predicted Bournemouth would finally get a win, 2-1 against Huddersfield, and Bournemouth managed to go there, win, and not concede, getting a 2-0 win. So Huddersfield down and out. See you later. The next game, Leicester versus Fulham. I think my only correct score, or exact correct score of the weekend, I predicted a 3-1 win to Leicester, and it was indeed a 3-1 win to Leicester. Thank you to a Jamie Vardy brace. So that was a good prediction there. Newcastle versus Everton. I predicted a 1-1 draw between the two teams. Newcastle coming from 2 goals down to win 3-2. What is going on with Jordan Pickford? It just seems... Is he still hungover from the World Cup? I don't know. He was great then, but he's just... like, he is average now. I don't know, he makes too many mistakes for my liking. Newcastle managing to nick all the 3 points in great form there. Next, Southampton versus Tottenham. I predicted a 3-1 win to Tottenham. Southampton, a great 3 points for them in their battle against Cardiff, amongst others, for the the safe spots in the Premier League, beating Tottenham 2-1. I'm pretty sure they came from behind. I'm not entirely sure though, but a massive 3 points for them. The next game, Manchester City against Watford. I predicted a 4-1 win to City. It was actually a 3-1 win to City, thank you to a rapid hat-trick from Raheem Sterling. Although, I know Watford were resting players for the FA Cup, but you bring on Troy Deeney and Deulofeu, and within 30 seconds of making that double substitution, Deeney gets an assist for Deulofeu's goal. The chemistry, it's unreal, but a good win for Manchester City nonetheless. The next game, Liverpool versus Burnley. I predicted a 3-0 win to Liverpool, and it was a 4-2 goal fest. In my opinion, the first goal would not have stood with VAR. At least it was a foul, I think, on Alisson. But honestly, it's kind of annoying with Liverpool. I've watched a few Liverpool games recently. I tuned into the Bayern Munich game, I tuned into the Manchester United game, and a few other games, and they always end 0-0, or they're quite boring. I can't watch the Liverpool-Burnley game, and it's a 6-goal thriller. So, yeah. Great there. If I'm sitting down to watch the Liverpool game, I know there's going to be minimal goals and minimal action. If I can't make it, it's going to be a goal fest. I didn't catch the 5-0 win against Watford either. So 2 0-0s I watched, and then 11 goals in the 2 games I didn't watch. So I'll let you know on Twitter if I'm watching the Liverpool game, and if I am, just don't bother. But either way, 4-2 winners for Liverpool there. Chelsea against Wolves. I predicted Chelsea would just be good enough against Wolves to get the 2-1 win, but I did say a good performance was due on the day for Wolves, and Wolves almost nicked the 3 points off Chelsea, much to my delight as an Arsenal fan. But Eden Hazard coming back with a late equaliser, giving Chelsea the 1 point in a 1-1 draw. And then the final game, of course, I got some stick in the comments for this one. I predicted Arsenal would beat Man United 2-1, and Arsenal managed to win 2-0. I do think Arsenal deserved the win. I think Man United, they wasted chances. Although Lukaku did miss chances, you have to say he put in the work. I think he played well. Other than the missed chances, which obviously is huge, I think Lukaku, he's playing well. He is playing well, so fair play to him. But either way, that is week 30 out of the window, and we now have week 31. There are a lot of postponed fixtures due to the FA Cup. I'm going to be predicting the 5 games scheduled for week 31, and then I'm going to predict the postponed fixtures. We don't know when they're going to be played, but I'm going to give you my predictions for them as if they were happening this weekend as well. So kicking it off, we have Bournemouth versus Newcastle, and I'm going to go for a shock result here. Newcastle are in phenomenal form, especially at home, but they are of course going away. Bournemouth are coming off of a win, and I think Newcastle, I don't think they're going to get the win. I'm going to go with a Bournemouth 2-1 win. Bournemouth have been in pretty terrible form. Newcastle have been in amazing form. I think a Newcastle slip-up is coming, and I'm going to go for it in this game. I might be terribly wrong, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 home win to Bournemouth. It is difficult to go to Bournemouth's ground, and I'm going to go for Bournemouth to get the win. They've got back to winning ways, scoring goals against Huddersfield. You know, if you do need a team to lift you up and give you that Premier League boost, it's Huddersfield. They've kind of been the punching bag for this year, except Wolves. You know, they did the double over on Wolves, but other than that, they've been a bit of a punching bag, and I think Bournemouth can get a 2-1 win against Newcastle here. It should be very interesting. The next game, Burnley versus Leicester. This promises to be a very entertaining fixture. Leicester's defence, a little bit shaky. Burnley's defence, a little bit shaky. Both teams very attacking, to be honest. You know, Burnley used to be famous for getting those 1-0 wins. Not this season. There's a few amount of goals in Burnley games. I'm going to go with a Desmond 2-2 in this fixture. I think had it been home for Leicester, maybe they'd get the 2-1 win, maybe another 3-1. Burnley at home, a little bit more difficult at Turf Moor. I'm going to go with a 2-2. The next game is West Ham against the punching bags, Huddersfield. I'm going to go with another West Ham 2-0 win. I know it backfired on me last time, and Cardiff got the 2-0 win over on West Ham, but West Ham at home do play better. They need to step it up, and they lost against Cardiff, and who better to bounce back than to play Huddersfield? So I'm going to go with the West Ham 2-0 win in this fixture. The next one is Fulham versus Liverpool at Craven Cottage, of course, and I think Liverpool, they got to get this win, especially against Fulham. I think Fulham are basically down at this point, but I think Liverpool need to get this win to try and keep up with Man City, and I'm going to go with a 4-1 win to Liverpool because Man City don't actually play their extra fixture for a while. I think late April, they've got 2 games in a few days. One against Man United, I believe, on the 24th, and there's another game they play on the 20th. I'm not sure who it's against. So Liverpool will have that extra game over on Man City. So although Man City will have a game in hand, if Liverpool can win their games, they should be looking good, like psychologically in the table. And I'm going to go with a 4-1 win to Liverpool. Finally, Mane and Firmino finding their shooting boots, getting 2 goals each in the game on the weekend against Burnley. Mohamed Salah, I mean, I know he's been scoring goals at least this season, you know, in the earlier stages of the season, but recently, as well as not scoring goals, it's not like he's really getting close. The times I've watched him, he's looked, I don't want to say bad, but bang average to say the least. You know, he's not looked that great, and maybe he's finally due a performance against a team like Fulham. So I'm going to go with the 4-1 Liverpool, and I'm going to go with Salah to break the goal drought. I think he can get something here. The next game is Everton against Chelsea. Everton in free fall, really. They're not in great form. I predicted them to beat Cardiff, and they did, but other than that, they've not really shown much. Pickford struggling. I think Chelsea managing to get that draw against Wolves was a good result for them in the end. And I think Chelsea, I'm going to go with another 2-1 win to Chelsea. I think they can just nick it at Goodison Park. I think Everton, they look good sometimes, but then they just struggle. And I think Chelsea, they need to take advantage and try and get towards the top 4 spaces, because with their draw against Wolves and Arsenal's win against Man United, Arsenal are now in the control. They're in the driving seat for this race. But if Chelsea can win their game in hand, they'd go above United. They got to win this game. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to Chelsea. So now the postponed fixtures. Watford against Southampton. I think I'll go through these very, very quickly. I think because you know there's no need to analyse these, you know, too much in detail because they're not actually happening. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to Watford at home. Southampton looking very good on the break, but I think Watford at home should have enough. If they're playing a full-strength team as well, they've got a bit more quality than Southampton as the positioning in the table shows. So I'm going to go with a Watford win here. Wolves against Arsenal. I've got down here a 1-1 draw because Arsenal are away from home. Wolves are fairly strong and solid at home, and we saw against Chelsea, even at Stamford Bridge, they almost got the 3 points, and Arsenal, I think, away from home, they tend to slip up. Wolves tend to do very well against the big 6 teams, and I would go with a 1-1 draw. I'd love to see Arsenal win, but my head says 1-1 draw on that one. Brighton versus Cardiff. Cardiff aren't the best travellers. Brighton are much better at home. I think Brighton would have enough to win. I'd keep it low scoring. I'd go with a 1-0 win to Brighton. And the final game, Tottenham versus Crystal Palace. Tottenham at home. Crystal Palace still decent travellers, but Tottenham would have to, you know, they'd have to win. They'd have to, you know, basically get a result because they've really been struggling ever since Harry Kane's come back, really. They have been struggling, and I think they would win 2-1. I think they would have to win. But either way, that is going to do it for the Week 31 predictions. Tune in soon to the channel, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the FA Cup quarter-final predictions. And there we go. That is going to do it for this video. Leave a like on it and your predictions down in the comments below for a chance to be featured in the next video. And I will see you in the next video very soon.